The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host and or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of the host and or Paranormal Buzz Radio and or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is prohibited. Paranormal Buzz Radio will not be held responsible for you holding your knees, crying, and rocking in a corner in a puddle of your own urine, or being beheaded by a group of children in a cornfield. In fact, if you come across a group of children in a cornfield, we promise to make fun of you as you run away screaming in terror. Listener discretion is advised. Caution. You are now entering the all-consuming realm of Shay's Paranormal Chat, where the things that are better left unsaid are actually said.
Shut up and sit down.
You're listening to Shay's Paranormal Chat. Paranormal podcasting done Shay's way. Tons of fun.
Dude, seriously?
A bit sarcastic.
Hashtag investigator, not hunter.
But always real.
Hashtag data, not evidence.
Don't get your panties in a twist.
Oh my god, really?
This is real, raw conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Good evening, everybody. TGIF. How's everybody doing out there tonight? We're having some technical difficulties, so don't mind us. And we have a dog and a kid in the background that are not behaving very well. So bear with us. And June is a saint, so she's all on board with us. Darren, how you doing?
Good. How you doing, Shay?
I am doing good. Thank you so much for jumping in, literally last minute.
Hey, I'm happy to be on. Anything for the network.
Yes, I know, and I really, really appreciate it. Ashley Storm was supposed to be on tonight, but something came up and she couldn't, and we've been trying very hard to figure this out, and Darren stepped up as usual.
I was actually on my way home from another city when she texted me.
Yes, so he is a saint, and everybody knows I love Darren. And we put up with each other, and we give each other shit, but we're actually good friends. So sometimes it's hard to tell, but you know, it is what it is, right?
That's right.
Right. I am so excited. Right now, we have an awesome guest, and as I always say, even though I ask him 2 minutes before we go live, I always mess up last names. I can't even say my own last name, so it's nothing personal. But we have psychic medium and author of 8 books, not just one book, 8 books, as far as I know, as far as I can find, 8 books. June Lundgren. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
It's Friday night.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, sometimes we call it Shay's Paranormal Chat. Sometimes we call it Shay's Shit Show, you know. But we always have fun and we always get the information out. That's the point.
That's an important thing.
Yep.
Sometimes she likes to talk with her holding her tongue too.
I do. So I want to start with this. I want to start with your background. And I have no other word for it but muggle. So can you explain to us what your muggle job was, or your Muggle past was?
Okay, so I don't know if that has ever been much of a Muggle. From the moment I was born, I had abilities. My grandmother raised me for the first 5 years, and she knew right away because the dogs and cats and all manner of animals would come and sleep under my bed and would never be far away from me. And she knew I was seeing things that nobody else could see. So I grew up for the first 5 years with her. She taught me a lot about what I was seeing and the difference between the good and the bad, and helped me to hone my abilities. And most of my teenage years were spent, helping people by word of mouth. Back then, there was no internet. It was just word of mouth. People would hear about me, and they would ask for my help with either talking to spirits or, communicating with their loved ones,
Because you've been in this field technically for over 40 years, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep. I left for the military when I was 17. And the military frowns upon this sort of thing. So you really didn't mention anything about it, but people kind of that were your friends knew, and I would be invited to parties and stuff, parlor tricks, whatever. And it was usually a BYOB party, and I didn't drink, so I'm allergic to alcohol, rubbing or drinking, so I don't drink.
So you brought your own spirits.
So I brought the spirits, yeah.
Yes.
And every now and then you would get one that was a little rowdy, but for the most part, they were pretty good. I got out of the military and came home and decided I didn't want to go overseas. I came home instead, and I really started helping a lot more people in earnest then. And then I died in a motorcycle accident in 1988. And I've always been able to see negative entities in their true form. It's not how people see them, because when people see them, it's because the demon will put an image in your mind. You will perceive them as that image. They reach into your mind and they pull out how you think a demon should look, and then they amplify it like in. And, I've always been able to see him that way. And Michael the Archangel has been with me since I was born. And he said, you see them as we see them. He said, that's unusual in a human. But he told me, when I died, he told me it's because of what you have within you. He says, you house the soul of Ariel the Archangel. He said she was sent back to relive human lives until she learns to have compassion for mankind. She had no compassion. She had been on the other side for so many years. And she is a demon slayer. That's what she did. And I looked it up because, when Michael told me that after I had my little experience. And I couldn't find much about her other than her name means Lion of God. And she's one of the 5 that guard the throne of God. But what I've learned since Michael the Archangel, he did what he calls a merge, to where I can hear her thoughts and she can hear mine. And so I've learned a lot more information about her over the years. And that was almost 31 years ago that happened.
So, before we move on, can we explain what a demon slayer is?
When I started doing removals, my grandmother, who's been dead since 79, she said, I told her, I said, I don't want to be called a demonologist. I run into fake ones. I don't like the connotation of being called one. And she says, well, why don't you call yourself what we call you in Ireland? You're a demon seer. This is someone who can see them, who can understand them, and can remove them. and they speak in Aramaic, and my brain is kind of hardwired to interpret it. It's basically a dead language, although I do have an Aramaic dictionary.
Oh, nice. So
Very interesting.
Yeah, it is. What are the differences between a demon sayer and a demonologist? Are there any?
Oh, yeah. The demonologist is someone who studies demons. I don't study them. I take them out.
Okay. No, that's fair enough.
Have you, like you've been in this for almost 40 years, have you worked with the Warrens at all on the cases?
No, they were completely on the other side of the world. And one of the true demonologists, I would have to say, would be Lorraine Warren. I've run into too many ones that were fake and would charge people to come in and do quote-unquote removals. And you just don't do that. Nobody in their right mind wants to remove demons or deal with them. But when it's your calling, it's your calling. I think that's the way
it's the same for paranormal investigators that go in before the demonologist has to. We can't prove what we're doing, and these people are desperate for help.
Yeah.
They're desperate for answers, and what kind of people would we be if we charged them?
Yeah, but there are people that do that, unfortunately.
There are, yeah. And, I just don't...
So when you go in to remove these demons and stuff like that, do you give them a choice to say either you remove yourself remotely by yourself, or you just go in there and say, you're done, I'm taking you out?
Yeah, I have people ask me, do you talk to them? What do they have to say? I'm like, no. Why do I want to talk to them? They've got nothing to say that I want to hear. They just need to be gone from here. Because if I'm called into a case, it's usually because somebody is being terrorized. Mm-hmm. Physically, mentally, emotionally. I know that when I formed a group called Ghosts and Girls Paranormal. And it's just me and another girl who I'm helping to understand what's going on. And because it's not for everybody, and I'm not about to expose anybody that's not prepared for it, Right. So I've been removing them for a long time. And the first time somebody told me, that, because people would look at me strange, because when I do a removal, Ariel comes forward and my eyes turn white. My face looks about 20 years old. My voice changes. And most people see wings coming out of my shoulders. She physically manifests. So it's like, they're like, do you know? And I'm like, no, I'm a little busy. Mm-hmm. I don't pay no attention, I don't have a mirror, thank you, but it's okay.
So how old were you again when you first realized you were a psychic medium and had abilities?
When I was a kid, I was seeing demons in their true form since I was about 3 or 4 years old.
So it wasn't even a progression. It was...
No, it was I've always been able to do it. I mean, at first, it scared me at first because I didn't know what it was. And Michael said, don't worry about it. This is what they are. He said that, I want you see them as we do. He says, I want you to observe them. I want you to watch and see how they work, what they do, because you're going to need it later. And when you're a kid, you don't really pay attention. You're like, oh, okay, I'll watch them. I'll see what they do, And it came in handy because it's like learning all about these things, not just doing the removals, but seeing how they work, what they do to people, how they do it. And, demons evolve just like people evolve. They change over time. And some of the demons that Ariel's run into in other lifetimes, they're a little bit different, but they have the same vibrational, each one of them has their own individual vibrational frequencies. Right. And so that's how she knows who they are.
So, and Darren, at any point, if you have any questions, just talk over me. Darren and I, we're only done a few shows together, so just feel free to jump in.
Well, I just got a question on the demons. How many different kind of demons are there out there that to be expected?
Well, they have a hierarchy. The dark realm has a hierarchy. There is Lucifer, and then he has 3 generals, so to speak, below him. And then there are the old demons. The old demons are the most powerful, and they've been around the longest. They have no love for humans, but we're not worth their time 99% of the time to come down here and bother us. And then there's the lesser demons, which I liken to hormonal teenagers. They're into everything, and they're trying to, cause as much problems to the living as they can. They a lot of times they'll buck the system when it comes to the old demons. They don't want to listen to them. They don't want to pay attention to them until they get slapped down. Then they listen. And then there are the minions, which are the shadow people, the creepy crawly dudes, and incubus, succubus. There's a number of little creepy dudes. And they're more of a pain in the rear than anything.
So you classify them all as demons? Sorry, Darren.
No, that's fine.
So do you classify succubus, incubus, as demons?
Yes, yeah, they're definitely demons.
Okay. And the incubus and the incubus, I believe. That's it wrong. Now, those are the ones that kind of attack men and women sexually, correct?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to clarify that.
Yeah. I've had a run-in with a few of them. The problem is you'll get somebody who, I've run into this before, where they don't want to get rid of them. They say they want to get rid of them, but they don't want to get rid of them.
All right.
Mm-hmm. And I tell them, I could rip the thing out. I said, but you would suffer for it because there would be repercussions by the demon. Mm-hmm. And, usually it takes them a while to understand that this is something that's not going to go away. And, suddenly they don't like them and don't want them. Once that happens, then I can pull them out without any problems, without any repercussions to the human.
So is it like, all right, bear with me here. This is going to be a long, drawn-out question, and you're going to see my hands. The other people aren't. The people in chat, the people in chat aren't. But, so you have, humans, like ghosts. We tried to label them. Poltergeists, negative, non-negative, human, non-human. We try. So are demons the same? Is it all a demon and the demon just attacks whatever it can? Are they all the same? If it can get you through sexual innuendos, or what's the word? Sexual activity, that's what it does. If it can possess you, that's what it does. What's the difference? Is there a difference? Or is it just your weakness?
No, demons are kind of strange. They're stupid, for one. For another thing, the teenagers, like I said, teenagers are quite stupid. The old demons are intelligent. But what they do is they send out these creepy crawly dudes, and they troll for people. They troll for people that will make good targets. Whether the person is weak, has a weak will, they're substance abuse, they have a lot of mental health issues, depression, substance abuse, abusive family, abusive situation. They were raised in an abusive situation, or they're currently in one. And they look for all of these things, and they'll wait and they'll watch them. They're like stalkers. They'll watch to see, what their weaknesses are, if they're easily manipulated, right. What their faith is. They watch all these things. They watch to see what's most important to you. Are you, looking for power? Are you looking for money? What can they do to entice you?
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. So is a demon is a demon. So right. is how we categorize them on how they get in? If somebody will allow them in sexually, is that when it becomes an incubus or a succubus? Or are they all different? Is it totally different?
They're different. It's just as we're individuals, each demon has its own mind, so to speak, its own habits, its own agenda. Like I said, mostly the lesser demons or the younger ones, they're just out to cause as much hate and discontent as they possibly can, make you regret even living. And they do that because if you have to go back to the war between heaven and hell. It wasn't like most people think. The thing is, we were all one at one time. We were all white light entities. We were pure energy, and we traveled the galaxies for thousands of years. So one day, about 3/4 of the souls said, you know what, we'd like to have physical bodies again. We'd like to know love. We'd like to have children. We'd like to do all of these things. And the other quarter said, no way, man, we don't want to do it. It's like we don't want to be subject to disease, growing old, pain. They just do not want to do it. And God told them, I'm not going to make you do this. It's up to you what you do. But Lucifer had always been like trying to overthrow God, so it's not like that was news. Before the war, God knew it was going to happen, so he created the Legion of Light, which is Ariel, Michael, Raphael, and Gabriel. They, in turn, trained warriors, light warriors, and they, in turn, trained others, so that there were legions of warriors, and there still are. So when Lucifer decided to overthrow him, he lost. And Michael disarmed Lucifer, and Ariel disarmed his son. And God said, I'm going to give you exactly what you want. You're never going to be able to take human form, physical form. And they were good with it. But he opened up a rift into a dark realm, and he put them in there and sealed it and said, this is where you're going to live. At first, they were okay with it, because they were like, good, this is my realm now. I own it, Lucifer's thinking. But then over time, they started getting upset. They started getting revenge, seeking revenge, becoming full of hate. They became the darkness. And so that's when they started trying to get into the physical world. And by doing that, sometimes they manipulate people to do rituals, or people that are like easily led, that are like thrill seekers, to, open doorways, do paranormal investigations. They do, they can do Ouija boards, they do seances, all that sort of stuff opens a door. But 99.9% of the time, it opens a door. The door is non-secular. It's neither dark nor light. And so anything can come in, whether it be good or bad. If you do not close the door after you've had the communication or done the investigation, then it's left open, and that's when things come in. Most people don't understand that you have to close the door. I mean, they think, what door? Anytime you do any activity like that, EVPs, anything, opens the door. So you have to close the door. You have to ask for God's blessing upon the communication, and then at the end of it, you ask him to close the door.
So for devil's advocate here, what do you suggest for non-Christians? I am a Christian. I'm a Catholic. So I want to get that out there right away. So what do you suggest for people that don't believe our path?
Right.
How do they protect themselves?
Well, see, that's the thing. It doesn't matter. One of the things I learned about being on the other side was that thought becomes reality. Right. Thought becomes reality, and it's the intention behind the thought that gives it power, whether it be in the dark realm or the light realm.
Amen.
So if I don't care if you believe in Buddha, you believe in Shiva, I don't care, whoever you believe in, whatever. Even if you believe in a greater consciousness, you just don't give it a name. Like my husband, he's agnostic.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. It's the intention. If you have absolute faith in that entity or that deity, then that gives it power. I don't care whether it's Jesus or God or Buddha. It gives it power. It gives it power to help. The one way to protect is to, invoke the name of God or Buddha or whoever.
But not if you don't believe in it.
Yeah, you have to believe in it. If you don't have that belief, it's not going to be good.
We have a famous saying on here. If I believe in my pillow, I am a Catholic, so this is nothing, nothing against the guests, but I am a full-blown Catholic. But if you believe more in a pillow than you do in God, that pillow will probably help you more than God.
Yeah, it's all about faith.
Yeah, you can't
do anything without faith.
Yeah, you can't pray to something that you don't believe in. You can't ask for help from something you don't believe in. Right, because
it's not going to work. If you just try to pay it lip service, it's not going to work. No. You have to have the faith behind the intention. Yeah.
That's the word, intention. Sorry, Darren, what?
So then you would say that holy water would actually work then sometimes,
if
right?
You believe it will work.
If you believe it. If you believe it will work, it will work. Correct.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. You can use holy water over the windows and doors to seal the windows and doors. If you have something in your house already, you're screwed. Because if you sage it, it'll make the activity ramp up 100%.
Now, is that because it closes it in? Because it can't get out?
What about sea salt, though?
Because it pisses them off.
I know that, but I get that question all the time. If you put holy water on the windows, it can't get out. So is it? So
what about sea salt? Does sea salt do anything special, or Epsom salt, or something like that?
Only if it's a human entity. If it's an inhuman, none of that's going to help except the holy water. And even then, if you enclose it in your home, you're going to be sorry for that.
There we go. You want to explain the difference between? We discuss it all the time, but everybody has different opinions. The difference between inhuman and human entities, or demon and negative entities.
A demon, or any form of demon, is an entity that has never taken physical form and is unable to take physical form. You have earthbound negatives, which are people that were nasty in life and they're nasty in death.
We call them assholes in life, assholes in death.
Yeah, because they don't ascend. They stay on the physical level and they stay within their physical consciousness. If they would let go of that and move on, then it would be good. But most of them are too afraid. Right. Either they know they're going to be judged, or they've done something that's, reprehensible, and they think they're going to go to hell and burn in hell. Or like the Catholics used to think, oh well, if you commit suicide, you're gonna condemn your soul to hell. But that's not true, really. If you think of it logically, what kind of loving, gracious God would punish you for being unable to live with the pain, whether it be emotionally, mentally, physically? I mean, really, come on, stop and think about that. No.
So I always thought when people commit suicide, they're kind of like a lost soul in a way.
They're not lost. I've run into too many of them. They're not lost.
Well,
that answers my question about that. I mean,
there is a difference between. Again, they can't see the air quotes, but you guys can. There's a difference between ghosts and spirits. And I'm going to give you my opinion first, and you guys can give me yours after. My opinion is spirits have already crossed over, but for some reason, and this is where it differs, they can come back and visit loved ones, family members. Ghosts are trapped here for whatever reason. Everybody has
they're trapped on the physical plane of existence.
Yes.
There's different planes of existence. There's downstairs, what I call downstairs, the dark ones. Then there's the physical plane of existence. Then there's the next one, which is between the physical and ascension, And that's where the ghosts reside, because they're afraid or they don't want to ascend into the next.
Yeah, we don't know why, but yeah, that's
existence.
right. Yeah, that's what I'm
Sometimes it's because, they've had a traumatic death or they had a sudden death. I've had ghosts that actually go into what I would, and as a medical person would say, was shock. I had one in La Grande, Oregon, where the woman said, there's something in my house. I don't know what it is. And so the minute I stepped onto the, to the patio where the driveway was, I'm like, I knew exactly what was there. So I go straight into the house and go to a recliner, and I'm like, you're dead, right? He's like, I do now. He says, I was sitting in my recliner and I had really bad chest pain. And he says, next thing I know, everything goes black. So then I wake up and I see my son and my daughter-in-law discussing renting my home. So I tried to tell them, I'm here. But they couldn't hear me or see me. I said, what happened to you? I said, you went into a kind of shock. I said, it's a state of shock. When you come out of it, now that you know you're dead, I said, why haven't you tried to cross? And he says, I don't know how. So in my mind, I created a white light tunnel for him. I said, you can go now. I said, just take the tunnel. It'll take you right there. And he left. It's all about, helping them.
So do you think, as Darren and I are paranormal investigators, we're not psychics, we're not mediums, we're not anything. So do you think for us to go into a location, is it okay for us to say, do you know you're dead? Or do you ask the question, how did you die? Is that, some people think it's disrespectful. How do you feel?
It's fine. How can you help them if you don't know if they know they're dead?
Right.
It depends. Ghosts are, the ghost realm is kind of funny. Some ghosts will remain caught in their own time. They won't see the passage of time. They won't see the changes. Maybe the house was torn down, but they still see that house, even though it's been torn down. So
that's
they
why
go through
ghosts
walls
walk
that
through
don't
walls.
exist or stuff. Yeah. And then you have the ones that see the change in time and are fascinated by it. I literally live on the Oregon Trail. My front door's on the Oregon Trail. So when we first moved out here for the first couple of years, I had a little girl pop into the car on my way to work in the morning. And she had pigtails and she had wore the pinafore and everything. She died of smallpox. But she sees the passage of time. And she just was staying around because she was interested and curious about things. I said, you've been gone for about 100 years. I said, maybe you should go home to your mom and dad. I'm having too much fun. Eventually, I talked her into it. She went home. But,
so, other than, I'm not talking about demons, but I'm talking about ghost spirits. I guess in our terms, it would be ghosts, but some people don't differentiate like we do.
Yeah.
Do you think it's okay to force ghosts to move on if they don't want to? Or is it possible if they're not hurting anybody?
It's entirely possible to make them cross over, but that's not right. They have free will. If they're not hurting anybody and not causing any problems, then they can stick around. I don't care. The thing is, I'll talk to the living and I'll talk to the ghost. And if we have mutual consent, then there we go.
They were there
don't scare the kids, don't scare the dogs, and you can stay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got a question now. A friend of mine, she had a friend that passed away. And so how long does it take for them to be able to get in contact with a loved one that passed away?
It's instantaneous. Instantaneous.
Because I had the mistake understanding that they, like, when they pass on, like, they have to go through a series of
transition time. Yeah.
Transition time and like, how long is that transition time for that? I mean, it's
like, I have a friend in England who's a year ago May, her husband died suddenly, 59 years old. and he sat down to have a nap before he went to drive the bus. He's a bus driver, and he never woke up. But he came to me the moment that he died, and he told me, now you need to tell Deb that Michael doesn't wear a gold suit, because my friend Deb's always talking about Michael wearing a gold suit. I said, Michael doesn't wear a gold suit. He doesn't like it. And so that was instantaneous, and he's been connecting ever since. So it doesn't take any time. If they don't have anything to do, or if they prefer to just descend and stay there, that's fine. But you can still connect with them. It's funny because when I died and went to the other side, it was a case of you get over there and you can feel and hear every single soul that exists. But it's kind of like a murmur in the background. You would have to, if you think of one of them, you think of somebody, then it comes forward and you hear it stronger. And then God is always there. Right. God, the greater consciousness, whatever you want to call him, he's always there. You can feel him. We all are connected to him. It's like a thread that connects us all. And so he knows, he knows our needs and stuff. The thing is, he told me to write my first book back in 2008. And he said, I want you to put in there the fact that I know what you want, but what you want is not necessarily what you need. I give you what you need. And he says, write whatever you want in the book. He said, but that has to come through. And so, that's what I wrote it. It covers a lot of topics, but it took me a year to write it because, I think it was told from a basic point of view, like people that don't know anything about the paranormal, so that they could easily understand. And then years ago, 2015, I think it was, I wrote The Dark Side of the Paranormal, because people have always asked me about, the dark beings and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I broke down and did a Body, Mind, and Spirit Expo because my friends were bugging me to do it. So I did it, and I gave a lecture on the dark side of the paranormal. And my friends are like, no, you have to talk about angels and stuff. I said, no, I don't. I said, I want to talk about the dark ones. And I was a little late getting to the lecture hall. I walked in the door, and it's like wall-to-wall bodies. I'm like, okay, standing room only. I'm like, all right. And people were coming by and thanking me for hours and hours for giving that kind of a talk. We're talking about something that's considered taboo, so to speak. And it was, and I knew at that time that, people needed to understand these things. People needed to have information to help themselves with these things. And so that's why I wrote The Dark Side of the Paranormal, because it gives away their ugly secrets, because demons have fears. Demons have different MOs on how they operate. They have weaknesses. People don't think that. People think they're all powerful, but they're not. They're not all powerful. They seem like it when they're attached to you or are, ruining your life. But, I've had usually people that come to me are people that have been suffering with these attachments for years. And they're so desperate, they do every kind of, anything imaginable. Walk backwards 3 times in a circle and you'll be fine.
Isn't there 4 or 5 stages before somebody gets possessed, though?
Oh, yeah. I would say 90% of the cases I get in on are not full-blown possessions. Yeah. They're just attachments.
About the different stages?
Yeah, there's the, they say, like, infestation, and then there's the, I don't know, I don't call them that. I call it where they're, okay, so like they're stalking you.
Talk in your terms. You don't have to talk in everybody else's, just how you recognize it.
What happens is the first stage is when they're watching you, but you haven't a clue. I mean, you don't know. They don't do anything. They don't even let you know their presence. And they'll sit there and they'll watch you. And then the next step is they'll start moving things in the house. they'll give you nightmares. You'll think, well, that's odd, And then you'll feel like somebody's watching you all the time. And then it'll ramp up and it'll be a case of, they'll start scratching you or hitting you or pulling you out of bed, something to that effect. And then it escalates to where they're, like I said, they're physically abusing you. They're letting you know they're there. They're growling, they're talking, you're being influenced by them, that sort of thing. And then it's, that stays pretty steady when they're attached to you. But then when they move on to, sometimes they'll possess you, but it'll be like intermittent. It won't be like total possession. It'll just be like they'll go inside you for a little while and then leave, and then come inside and leave. I had a case like that I went in on where I had done the show Ground Zero with Clyde Lewis. And I received a request from someone about a possession that they had been possessed for 20 years. And it's like, holy cow, it's a long time. So I made arrangements to go.
Can somebody really be possessed for 20 years?
Oh, yeah. If the demons are not actively suppressing you or using you, you can be as normal as you or I. But, when they start influencing you.
Isn't that the difference between attached and possessed? Because attached, they're just there, and possessed, they take over.
It's a state of semi-possession because they're not totally. They're not taking up residence all the time. They come and go.
That's what I'm trying to. Yeah.
Yeah, they come and go. But this lady she had actually had 3 of them that were actually full-time possession.
She was possessed. You can't just skim over that. She was possessed by 3 demons at once.
Yeah. Oh yeah, one time. Yeah, she had a total of 11. Oh yeah, she had a total of 11 attached and 3 possessed. Yeah. It was a case of she answered the door, knock on the door. She answers the door. It took a friend of mine who's a minister, ordained minister, and the other half of my group, her and Wendy. And so we went there and I knocked on the door and the woman opened the door, but it wasn't the woman. The eyes were black and growled and slammed the door. And so I knocked on it again. It's like, this time the woman answered. She was in control, sort of. So got inside. Ariel came out for about 3 hours, which it never takes her that long. But she was out for about 3 hours. And then finally we were down to the last one. And I hear Ariel's thoughts. So I knew that she had delved into the demon's mind and found out that this demon was hiding from Lucifer. It had been given a job to do, and it just didn't bother to do it. It's just like, I'm out of here. I'm not doing it. So that's why it was hiding out in this woman. And I told her, I said, listen, if you want to go home, if you've changed your mind and you want to go home, I said, Jesus will come and take you home if that's what you want. And my friends were standing on either side of the woman, about 6 feet away from her, and Jesus' hand came out. They could physically see his hand come towards the demon, offering it to go home. But the demon refused because he thought, he was being tricked. And so Jesus withdrew his arm. And I said, okay. I said, Lucifer, come forward. And the dark entity, Lucifer, came down the hall, suddenly appeared in the hallway and came down towards where everybody was. And he told the demon, you're coming with me. And the demon's like, no way. You're not coming with me. I mean, I'm not going with you. And so he said, Lucifer looked at me and said, I'll be back tonight. And he walked down the hall and disappeared. And exactly 3 a.m. the next morning.
Sounds like my ex-husband.
The next morning, everybody woke up in their respective beds and heard it's done. And I called the woman the next day, and she's like, I feel wonderful. She said, I've never felt like this in so many years. And I said, you need to get counseling. I said, you have PTSD with all this stuff going on, you need counseling. So she got some counseling, and she's probably still in counseling, not this long.
Yeah.
But it's horrible when they do these things to people.
It is. We have a question. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I can read it. Go ahead.
So the question I have now this one is kind of, people take it in a different kind of context and sort of way. What are your views about sleep paralysis with shadow people?
Oh, God,
they do that
damn
a lot.
it. Ugh.
That's part of their MO. See, that's where shadow people are different. Demons travel in packs, like wolves, dogs. Shadow people do not. Shadow people love their own territory. They do not like to have any other shadow person or demon or anybody interfering or intruding in their territory. What they like to do is they like to watch the person and start giving them dreams, bad dreams, keeping them from sleeping. And they can even suck the life force out of you little by little is how they do it to kind of just, and that will cause sleep paralysis because they can hold you down. So it's for them, it's nothing. They play with you. They're all about, giving you, prolonging your misery.
I'm dying.
That's the thing. They do. They love that.
My OCD, I have OCD, and I believe what you're saying. I don't mean it that way. But I know. I should be embarrassed that I bring this up so much, but I'm not. I don't even care. Sleep paralysis is a medical term. Shouldn't we, as paranormal people, come up with a different term?
It's a medical way around it. All it is it's a demon using his force, the force of his abilities to make you not move. It's like somebody holding you down.
Right, but it's an actual medical term. It's like saying when you get possessed, it's like saying, I have cancer when you mean you're possessed. Like, to me, I cannot get over it. I know it sounds stupid, and I'm not trying to insult anybody because it's two different things, but it's like the same name for
That's
two
why
different
I
things.
asked it.
I know. He just tried to. All right, let's change the subject. I have OCD really bad, so words mean something and it bugs me.
Want to ask you a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, Mama Deb in chat asked a long time ago, why do you think others are chosen? Why do you think you and others are chosen to have these abilities? What sets you aside from others?
There are 8 archangels born in the world today that are residing in physical bodies in the world today. I know where I'm one of them, and I know where 6 others are. I just have to find the last one. Each one, as I find them, I help them understand what resides within them and how to, I do emerge for them so that they can understand and talk to the soul that resides within them. Because a lot of them will think, man, I'm bipolar, I'm like schizophrenic, whatever, because they're hearing all this stuff. But yet they can see ghosts, they can see demons, that sort of thing. There are a lot of warrior angels in the world right now. A lot of people have warrior angels within them. And it's all about building a network of light workers.
Here's a good segue. You as a person, you as a psychic medium, and everything you do, how can you tell the difference between a negative entity, a demon, and goddamn mental health that we all have? It's not a judgment thing. We all have mental health issues.
Oh, yeah. You wouldn't live if you didn't have some form of mental health, whether it be depression or whatever, The thing is, it's funny because, like I said earlier, with my brain being hardwired to interpret Aramaic, it's the same with knowing what's there and what's not there. I mean, I can look at a picture of a location, an individual, and I know what's there or what's not there. I know if there's a demon there. I know if there's just a human spirit attachment.
Yeah, but is that your gift?
Yeah,
so
that's part of my gift.
Do you have advice for others? Because you can just tell. How can others? Any advice? If not, if you don't know, you don't know. But
it's very difficult. Okay, I'll tell you the way you can tell if it's an inhuman that's attached to him. Yeah. If an inhuman is present, one of the signs is you'll feel cold within yourself, in your core. You can be 100 degrees outside, and you'll feel it inside of you. It's got nothing to do with the ambient temperature in the room. And if it's a ghost, you're going to feel cold spots. You're going to feel it externally. But with demons, you feel it internally. You feel a sick feeling in the pit of your stomach.
Oh, hold on. I lost. Sound. I get you back.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You may feel, there are outward signs. You can, with a ghost, you can feel cold spots. With a demon, you'll smell rotting flesh, rotting meat. You'll see dead insects, dead birds. I mean, it's just overwhelming. And like I said, you'll feel that sick feeling in the pit of your stomach that tells you something's not right. What that sick feeling is the soul connection. It's your soul saying, you don't want to go there. You don't want to be here. You need to leave. Okay, those are some of the only ways that you can tell. Of course, if you happen to see one, there you go. That's even better. But usually they will show themselves as a black mass or mist or cloud. And then, when they wrap it up, they'll appear as, like I said, your preconceived idea of what a demon should look like. Mm-hmm. And then you're screwed, because when you do that, they know you've seen them. The best advice I can ever offer anyone, including paranormal investigators, is if you think that you see a demon, do not acknowledge it. To acknowledge it is to make it see you, and you don't want it to see you.
But if it's addressing you, doesn't it see you?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. If it's addressing you,
just
that's one thing.
Ignore it.
But if you're like out of the corner of your eye, you think you see a shadow person or whatever.
So you think all shadow people are demons?
All true shadow people are demons. Unfortunately, I've run into it before. I was asked to come in on a children's theater. They thought that there was a shadow person there because it was big, it was black, it showed itself with red eyes, and it was, chasing the kids off. And so they asked me to come in, and I went in. It's like, I see ghosts as they're supposed to be. I don't let them project into my mind. So what they saw as a shadow person, 7 foot tall shadow person, was really a short, fat, balding guy who never got any respect in life, and he was damn sure going to get respect in death. So he showed himself. He made you see him as that shadow person.
So you can tell the difference. I just don't want our listeners to think that every shadow you see is a demon, because that is absolutely not true.
No, because ghosts can make you see them as anything they want.
Amen. Yeah. Oh, they can. Your biggest fear. That's what they'll show themselves as.
Yeah, the negative ones will do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
They like to do that.
They do.
I have a
Darren, do you have any last questions?
Yeah, I have a friend of mine that she has a problem with when she goes to an investigation, she channels a lot.
Uh-huh.
Do you have any advice that
Good
they can
question.
take from? Because I know channeling could lead to a real dark place if you can't get out of it.
Yeah,
so
that's why you never. That's why you should never open channel. she's not protecting herself. I have a short exercise that I give to people, empaths, people that have problems with open channeling. And what it does is it creates a force field around them. When you create it in the force field, you create it with an intention of cutting off all channeling or cutting off all feeling, from external feelings, external channeling. It protects you, and so you channel when you want to, and not just, whenever they want you to channel. Yeah, it works really well for that sort of thing. It's all about the intention and the thought behind creating this. I was given it by Michael when I first started, helping people, when I first started removing demons, along with the recipe for black salt. The black salt that I create is blessed by God at every step of the making. And he said, if you're going to remove demons, we need to have something to protect the living. So the black salt has never failed. You can carry it with you. You can put it around your home, and it creates a force field, and it lets nothing negative come through that line.
Okay. I don't want to sound negative or like I'm making fun of you, but I'm trying to be more of a journalist than a smartass lately. It doesn't always work, but how is it blessed by God? Like, how do you know the difference?
How do you know that the holy water that the priests do is blessed by God?
It's not. It's blessed by the priest, in my opinion.
But they're supposedly getting the blessing from God.
Right. That's why I'm like, I ask the hard questions. Like,
the reason I know is because I can see him.
It's your intent. It's your belief. It's your faith.
And I can physically see him.
Oh, sorry, my notification's going off. Sorry. Yeah, but what about the people that don't believe as we do? Again, I'm Catholic. I'm not giving you a hard time.
Yeah.
So, but how? What about
it's the same thing. It's all about the intent. There's really one consciousness, one all-powerful consciousness.
And the word that you call it doesn't matter.
No. It's all about that, the intent and the belief. Like I said, there is one consciousness. Whatever you call it, whatever name you give it, it's not going to change it. It's the same.
No.
Interesting.
I agree. Darren, any last questions? Our hour's up, believe it or not.
Yeah, I do have one thing, because I know this is real big about Facebook Lives. You ever watch any Facebook Lives of people going on investigations at all?
No, I don't have time.
Because what I kind of was getting at is like how we're seeing each other right now, remote viewing and stuff like that. So could you see if there's anything behind me or behind her in our rooms at all?
Yes. I have people that will call me and say, I'm doing a live investigation. Can you stay on the phone with me and see if there's anything there? I get that all the time.
But is there anything behind us in particular? You get
nothing bad. Nothing bad.
See,
because I always have a feeling that I have a lady that's always in my room with me.
Yeah, it's a guardian. It's your guardian.
And that's kind of what I figured, because that's I get that from multiple people. That there's a lady that watches you in your room.
Yeah, she's an older lady. Yeah.
But there's also a watcher that kind of likes to watch in the corner and just stares at me.
You have two. You have the one, the older lady, who takes care of your everyday type stuff.
Sorry.
And then you have the gentleman that stands in the corner and watches. But he's family member. He's a family member. Your father's side, your father's grandfather.
Do I have anybody behind me? I'm just curious. We're not friends on Facebook, so you have no idea who I am. So I'm just curious.
No. You do. You have two females. One is younger. It looks like she's about 30 years old. She has long blonde hair, and she's a little on the heavy side. And her name, she says, my name's Shirley. Just call me Shirley. I'm like, okay. And the other one is older, and her name is Maria. And she's family member on your mom's side.
So with the lady that's
great grandmother.
So I have a question with the lady that's here in my room. Where is she from? I mean, I don't get why, if the one that's in the corner is a family member, why does the lady stick around with me?
She's assigned to you. Everyone is assigned their guides and guardians. Sometimes you can get, the soul will petition to have, like, the mom who's crossed over be a guide or guardian. The mom will say, I really would like to watch over my son or my daughter or whatever. And if they can petition it and it's agreed, then that's who watches over.
Okay.
Sometimes it's just people you don't even know, but are within your circle.
Okay. Do you have names at all? Real quick.
Her name is Sarah, Sarah, not Sara, Sarah. And his is Jonathan. Oh, just call him John.
Wow. I get goosebumps. I'm sorry.
No, that's awesome. I want to thank everybody that was in the chat, and I see multiple people that did not comment in the chat that gave us a like. Never forget to like and share our shows, because we appreciate it. Anybody that puts up with my mouth is like awesome in my book. But
we'll have to have her on.
Yeah, right. Mama Deb was in there. Mallory was in there. Matt was in there. This is why I need a co-host, because I can always scroll. Francis, thank you for joining us tonight. I, the Beholder, thank you. Mallory. And I missed a whole bunch of people because on my phone I cannot scroll that far back. But I
can't see chat.
I know. But
thanks for joining us tonight in chat, though.
Yes, thank you, and thank you to anybody that listens later. I think I'm hitting over 10,000 downloads. I either already did or I'm about to, so I want to thank everybody that actually listens to the show. And most people that message me they're not in chat, and they ask me questions after the fact. And I appreciate that. So I just want everybody to know it is appreciated. You are noticed. Liked, shared, comments, questions. Thank you so much. June, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. I enjoyed myself.
Yeah, and hopefully come back, because if you can tolerate us, or me, I shouldn't say us, but if you can tolerate me more than once, you're welcome back anytime, because most people can't.
I have a new book coming out the end of December.
Yeah, where can people find your books? Thank you.
On Amazon.com, they can find my books, or Smashwords.com, or Ingram Books.
Oh.
I have a new one coming out, 2 new ones. One is called Demon Seer, The Beginning. It's the first in a 4-volume, and I wrote it in a simple way that people that do not know anything about the paranormal can understand. It's all about bringing awareness about what's going on with negative entities, how they work. And I have a chapter on protection that's really good, and a chapter on where to find help. I've gotten input from Keith Johnson and his brother. They're willing to, let me put their stuff in the book so people can help them.
Carl Johnson?
Yep. Archbishop of Order of St. Michael of Exorcists. He's contacted me, and I put his information in there, and a couple of other people, so that people have someone to go to, someone to contact if they need help.
Yep. And where can you throw out your social media before we get cut off here?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook as either June Lundgren or Demon Seer. You can find me on Twitter too, June Lundgren, or Ghosts and Girls Paranormal. And we have a YouTube channel called Ghosts and Girls Paranormal.
Awesome.
Very cool.
All right,
Very
Darren, hold on 1 second. June, hold on 1 second. Darren, hold on longer. Guys, thank you. We have some more great guests. I hope June comes back to talk more about this with us because I still have tons of questions. If she can put up with my smart ass mouth. It's always up to the guests if they want to come back or not. Next week, Darren, you're back next week.
Yes, I am.
We're going to be talking vampires.
Oh, yes, we are.
Yes.
That's going to be interesting.
Oh,
Psychic
yeah.
vampires.
Yeah. And
I still have to...
I've been
I'll
watching
have to write my
Twilight.
questions for that.
I've been watching Twilight all weekend. Over and over, just for this show, so...
Just keep the psychic vampires away. You'll be okay.
Yeah, that's right. Amen, girl. All right, guys. We will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. You guys know where to find me. So, thank you, Darren. Thank you, June.
Thank you for having me.